What is this? Shout it out if you know what it is. I know it's early, but we're not moving on until everyone's made a guess. So most people said a computer. We all know that, but more to the point, what's the speed? Who made it? When was it made? This particular model is a UNIVAC 1108. Speed? Manufacturer? Oh, those folks? Don't they make the iPhone? No, they don't. They've been bought and sold 20 times. Manufacture year? 50 years ago. So, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking what everyone in this room thinks when they're presented with a computing device. Does it do any of the things I need it to do as a consumer? Does it have Photoshop? Of course not. This device is sufficiently antiquated that if you were to try to get Photoshop on it, things would get weird very quickly. You'd be committed to an asylum or something along those lines. Why? Because there's no way to translate that. Photoshop, you'd have to somehow de-binary everything. You'd have to get everything on magnetic tape storage, every single process. And the RAM, you'd probably need 12 billion UNIVAC 1108s just to open Photoshop. The point being, technology moves very quickly, to the point that 50 years after this manufacture date of 1965, it's comical. Some person's using it in a slide in a talk about emerging technology because it's so antiquated, so foreign to all of us. What does it look like using contemporary technology to do old tasks? Or the inverse. What if you're doing contemporary tasks with old technology? Here's a scene. Someone's working on a PHP project, except they're using very old technology. Nothing anyone here would use to work on a web design or development project today.
Dearest Henrietta, upon my return from Macedonia, I was thrilled to see your commit number 00F3333517171. However, have you considered that multi-byte strings must be enabled on a server in order for this feature to work? Ever yours, Rami Abraham. P.S. Please consider the environment before printing this message.
Pretty ridiculous. That would never happen. So, to begin moving into the future, I'm going to use a unique talent humans do so well. Projecting the future using the past and the present to determine likely outcomes. To do that, we're going to go back to a really old time. Human culture was far different than it is today. mannerisms, ways of dressing, speaking, technology were completely foreign to what they are now. 1991. Specifically, I want to talk about this word. We know gopher as this. That is not the gopher to which I'm referring. More to the point, gopher space. Also, not what you may be thinking. That's what my niece thinks it is. We're going to Minnesota. One of my favorite sodas. In 1991, something called Gopher Space was created by the University of Minnesota. It was a way to share electronic documents, link them to one another around the world, so you could share files remotely, documents, images, data, without flying to Florida to send someone 2 pieces of paper, or have some courier bring a letter that says, yes, you can take off from work. So things were going exceedingly well. There were a lot of projects around the world that were analogous to Gopher Space, but none had really caught on quite as well as Gopher Space until '93. When the University of Minnesota said, hey, by the way, we might charge for this. We're definitely going to charge for commercial usage of it. And we're also not going to sufficiently define all of our licensing terms. So there might be some weird stuff happening soon. The Earth responded with, all right, we'll see you later. There's another project at the European Center for Nuclear Research in Geneva, created by someone named Tim Berners-Lee, called the World Wide Web. Oh, really? What is that? So we know where things went from there. On April 30th, '93, something that in 2091 will be referred to as the unification event, the administrators at CERN did something amazing. A week later, Tim Berners-Lee sent some select people around the world a message in which was a notification that the World Wide Web software is now in public domain. The power of open source has permeated the World Wide Web software into everything. It is physically inside people's bodies in some cases. So let's go to today. Before we move forward, that's why we're here. There's a huge milestone that recently happened. 25% of the planet's top 10 million, I believe it is, websites are powered by WordPress. Give it up for big dubs. Are they gonna get, yep, wow, these captioning people are amazing. Where are we, though? What can you do? What does WordPress do? What kind of things can you build with WordPress? Those questions have no meaning for me. There's no answer. So, don't read it. But database schemas powering anything, embedded systems, operating system abstractions, intranets, every kind of website configuration, web app. You know, still does that thing. So in 5 years, is it going to be this sort of thing? No. Everything's going to be very analogous to what it is today, but a little bit more mature. In 2020, a lot of the things you already know are going to happen will indeed occur. Native applications more common, REST API theme development more common than traditional theme development. Veteran WordPress developers that know the hierarchy are persnickety about it. One influential developer or more will publish an article like, does this even matter anymore? Does that even matter? Does the thing that's not JavaScript even matter anymore? Most importantly, the REST API by then has very mature support for all of the core WordPress APIs, including plugins. Plugins? Question mark? Yes. At first, everything's JavaScript. Themes, JavaScript, plugins, WordPress database. Can you manipulate it as deeply as you can with PHP by then? Yep. It's in more domestic devices, embedded systems. WordPress as the OS, the UI, the database. This cat, JavaScript. Dinner with my family, JavaScript. Dude on the left, JavaScript. But then, everything's not JavaScript. WordPress becomes invisible. What does that mean? Calypso, the actual WP admin dashboard, is not there. There is now the reality that people can use WordPress 100% through a native application. You could do that for many years, of course, through a variety of other apps. Because of the user base of WordPress.com, that's very significant. So let's move forward. 2035. Things start to get interesting, certainly for those of us in the room today. Why? Because we get our toys. We get to live in a 90s sci-fi movie, finally. So, sounds cool, right? What does that look like? Let's take a look at a friend of mine. She's just playing some music, checking out some posts, switching to different sites.
Howdy, Michelle. Starting up WordPress OS. Remote multi-site. Post type, ideas. Switching to workspace, Wapoo. New post.
Check upgraded
Viewing
features in
media,
Jetpack.
Wapoo. Dismiss combining multi-site views.
Yeah. Don't believe it? Too bad. It's going to happen. The next 75, that popular phrase, doesn't really mean anything in 2035. WordPress has moved beyond, we know that today, but at a consumer level, so far beyond being a website, content management system. It's everywhere. Where some services have gone, well, you have to have this type of server configuration, and WordPress is too big, and we're just this one thing. And as long as you spend 13 hours configuring the server, you're going to have the fastest website ever. those kind of strong use cases that are very narrow are extremely useful. But WordPress goes in the opposite direction. It embraces third world countries. It maintains a focus, even though in 2035, the actual WordPress admin dashboard is irrelevant. It's still kept. Why? Because not everyone has a MacBook Pro and a broadband connection, even in 2035. Let's take a look at this scene here. An embedded device that casually uses WordPress.
Play the news.
Welcome Post Status Member, January 10th, 2035.
Hi, my name is Brian Krogsgaard, and I'm coming to you from WordCamp Earth. This is the 20th year of WordCamp Earth, and we're in Zurich, Switzerland. And we are excited about WordPress 40 that is nearing release. And
check out the great new features in Jetpack.
Dismiss.
one of the hottest topics of WordCamp Earth this year is the upcoming WordCamp Mars project.
Related post found.
They said it couldn't be done. They called us crazy, but it's finally happening. WordCamp Mars, July 23rd, 2040.
Which will require a 100-person shuttle just for preparation, and then a series of 45 to 65 shuttles, depending on the number of attendees.
Okay, let's try something different. Again, anyone that does not think that's going to happen, I want to speak to you in the hallway after the talk. Let's take that stuff away, though. Two friends here, Mel and Michael. I could say that I'm doing this on purpose, but the truth is I didn't have time to render this video. Let's do a few seconds of an exchange where everything is turned off, literally just the green screen. Because today it does look ridiculous. But that level of customization, which we'll see in a following video, is what's coming. The interface means nothing. Keyboards, glowing rectangles that we stare at all day today are a transitional element in our lives. They're inefficient, they cause health issues, and they will be gone eventually.
Hey, man, can you slack me that cool design on the editor interface? Cool. Yeah, I don't like that color. Let's get Hugo in on this.
Hugo, hey.
What's up, Hugo?
Hey. Yeah, oh, thanks. Yeah, what do you think?
Hold on, I gotta take a phone call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hello?
I don't know where to put this thing now.
No. All right, cool. Yeah, a little bit to the left, like 2 hollow pixels.
All I did was turn off the render layer. So 2035, that's great. We have our fun. It's really cool for a while until we get them as common as an iPhone, and then we just don't care about these immersive, holographic, spherical interfaces. We get to a point in 2065 where it's difficult to visually communicate what the interface is like. I'm not going to force you through this thing again, but how different could things get? Let's watch the video first. Mostly because I'm out of time, so I'm going to skip this. This is going to happen, that, also that, and some of that. This, okay. This is just someone doing casual upkeep of WordPress, gardening, squashing tickets, and the like.
Release candidate 2. Loading contributor mesh. Conflicts in cluster A732.
Are you working on 341.227.11.341?
Yes.
Ticket located. Possible collision.
Okay.
Fatal collision. Rewrite API. Intersections must contain the index value.
I think I almost have it. I'm running into some issues with rewrite rules. So
What just happened there? The user interface is an extension of his thought process. The way things are visualized similar to how you visualize thoughts today, how you organize data. When you hear a certain person's voice, you get flashes of color, structure, emotion. That's WordPress in 2065. So that sounds great and all, but when does this happen? Is there a date? Yep, right now. Thank you.